What's up guys, Versatile Element here. Last Monday, November 13, 2023 marked 5 years since the release of the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Little did we know back then that one day Spyro the Dragon, along with Crash Bandicoot and the rest of Activision Blizzard's franchises, would move under the ownership of Microsoft and Xbox. Which means that the Spyro Reignited Trilogy was unknowingly the last Spyro game before the new ownership. But anyways, to help celebrate the 5th anniversary of this remake, I'd like to share my list of my top 5 favorite level themes in Spyro Reignited Trilogy, starting with Spyro 1 Reignited. Do feel free to let me know in the comments below if you have your own list of favorite level themes from the Reignited Trilogy's remake of Spyro the Dragon. Also, I shall be going through a bit of a comparison between the Reignited remakes of each level theme with their original PlayStation versions. Now without further ado, let us begin. At number 5 we have Wizard's Peak. Admittedly, this is due to the fun fact that this theme was the main inspiration and basis for composer Stuart Copeland's theme for the 90s Nickelodeon TV series The Amanda Show. In fact, this is already a good example of the connections between Spyro the Dragon and Nickelodeon, with the other being that Spyro voice actors, particularly Carlos Alazraqui, Tom Kenny, and Clancy Brown, also voiced Nick characters. For copyright reasons though, I won't be playing a comparison between the Wizard's Peak and Amanda Show themes, so feel free to personally listen to both and try to spot some beats inside the Amanda Show theme taken from Wizard's Peak. As for comparing both the original PlayStation version and Reignited's remake of Wizard's Peak, the original is definitely better in my opinion. Not much else to say other than the Reignited version makes the theme sound somewhat generic compared to the original. Not bad, but the original is better. But the guitar strumming does give the Reignited version a little bit of a boost. At number 4 we have Misty Bog. Granted, it wasn't until I watched a particular video by Travis the Dragon that I started warming up to the theme. Otherwise, I wouldn't have cared about it as much. Now this might sound controversial, especially to veteran Spyro fans, but at first hearing, I find the reignited version of Misty Bog a little bit better than the original. In my opinion, the main tune sounds more front and center in the Reignited Trilogy than in the original PlayStation version, but what definitely helps give the original an edge over the Reignited version is the drums. Not even the Reignited version has the drums at the beginning, and at the same time, I do agree that the original version does sound scarier than the Reignited one. This is all aside from a rendition of Misty Bog that plays at the end credits of the Reignited Trilogy, just like how I played it at the beginning of the video. At number 3 is Cliff Town. Finally picking up the Reignited Trilogy around spring 2020, just as COVID was starting to take a grip on the world, man did hearing the Reignited version of Cliff Town give me a real treat. The theme just sounds too good. Too good. Mainly with the guitar/string section around the middle of the theme. For me, it just adds to the desert/Tatooine Star Wars vibes to the whole level. But how does the original PlayStation version compare? Well, one thing that is better in the original versus the Reignited Trilogy is the instrumentals, particularly with the opening tune. The The original instrumental does sound better than the reignited version, but even then, I still think the reignited version is superior. That's probably due to bias. As for many of the Spyro Reignited Trilogy themes, I often heard the reignited versions before their original counterparts. Narrowing down to number 2, we have Jax. Now this theme is just bliss, right from the start. Granted, every time I hear this song, I imagine a nighttime sky as opposed to the sunset that the Jax level has. Now the PlayStation version of the Jax theme is also on par with Reignited. However, one minor but at the same time big difference between the two is the percussion/drums at the beginning. By no means does it take away from the blissful atmosphere the beginning of the theme just gives off, but I still prefer the reignited version for how calmer the lack of drums at the beginning makes the theme sound. Before we get to number 1, here are a few quick honorable mentions. Dry Canyon, memorable theme mainly because it's one of the earliest levels in Spyro 1. Same with Terrace Village, and thus one of the more memorable themes in the game, both original and reignited. Tiger Train, aka the Spyro Reignited Trilogy main menu theme. It combines a little bit of all 3 Spyro game tunes into one song, announcing Spyro's fiery return back in 2018. It wasn't until the official September 2023 release of the official Spyro Reignited Trilogy soundtrack that I found out the Reignited Trilogy theme actually has a name. And finally, at number 1, we have a tie. Spyro the Dragon theme and Artisan's World. I couldn't decide which theme I liked a little more than the other. What can I say? I'm arguably biased towards the main theme and first level theme, tending to be my favorite music themes in any video game since they are the first ones to play. With the main Spyro theme song, the original PlayStation version is easily superior in comparison to the Reignited Trilogy version. But that's a bit unfair to say, since the reignited version of Spyro 1's theme previously only existed in certain promos of the Reignited Trilogy and did not get an official release until this past September with the release of the official Reignited Trilogy soundtrack. Overall, this version sounds quite on par with the original, but otherwise, I got no real thoughts over this rendition. On the other hand, when comparing both versions of the Artisan's World theme, I easily heard the Reignited Trilogy rendition first. Just hearing that version's theme takes me back to March 2020 when I first got around to buying the Reignited Trilogy, and again around the same time COVID was just starting out. From the intro of the song and onwards, the theme sets a fantastical atmosphere for the level and for the Spyro franchise as a whole. Just hearing the and really takes me back to playing Artisan's World and Reignited for the very first time in 2020. What a first impression. However, the guitar-ish instrumentals in the original PlayStation version of the Artisan's World theme does sound better than its Reignited counterpart. But even that part was another personal first impressions moment in the 2018 title. Not to mention the original Artisan's World has the drum roll at the beginning, while in Reignited the theme plays immediately. Any thoughts on this list? Perhaps you may have your own list of your top 5 favorite level themes in the Reignited Trilogy remake of Spyro the Dragon? Feel free to comment your personal favorites down below. Well, that's all I have for today. Admittedly, it'll be tricky to make my own lists for my top 5 favorite level themes for the Reignited Trilogy remakes of both Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage and Spyro Year of the Dragon. I'll see what I can do for those respective remakes in Reignited. Until then, thank you for watching. Versatile Element signing out. See you in the next one.